That night, I dreamed of the funeral one last time. Same hill. Same rain. But no mourners. No casket. Just an empty field. And me. Alone. Alive. There's a silence that comes after you bury something right. Not absence. Not emptiness. It's the kind of silence that feels earned. Like the world exhales around you. For the first time since I overdosed. Since the tree. Since the funeral that wasn't mine. I felt like I'd stepped out of something. A shadow. A cycle. A life I didn't know I'd been repeating. Not just addiction. But inheritance. My father called it the family fire. Some people pass down homes or names or heirlooms. We pass down wounds. But for the first time, I didn't feel like I had to carry it. Or pass it on. I could bury it. At the roots of that tree. Where ghosts belong. Eli started getting better. Ray started reading to me again. Out loud. Like she used to when I detoxed the first time, curled in her bed, skin crawling, soul clawing to get out. She read poetry. Bits of Baldwin, Mary Oliver, Rilke. But one line stuck with me. Still sticks. What is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? I didn't know the answer yet. But now I knew the question mattered. The letters stopped coming. So did the dreams. And the witness? Gone. Like he'd walked me to the border, then turned back into whatever space between he came from. One morning, I woke up without guilt crushing my chest. I didn't cry. I didn't gasp. I just laid there. Still. Present. Alive. And that scared me more than anything. Because now I had no excuses. No prophecy. No haunting. Just life. It was like waking up with new skin. Sensitive. Tender. And proven. The world looked different in small ways. Colors deeper. Faces clearer. And I realized something. I'd been staring at people for years and never seen them. Now I did. Especially Ray. We took it slow. Coffee instead of closure. Laughter without apology. The kind of quiet between people that isn't awkward, it's full. One day, she asked me, "Do you remember what you said when I told you I was pregnant?" I blinked. I didn't think I ever knew. She smiled, sad. "You said, let's keep the good parts. Just in case we don't make it." I almost cried. Because that sounded like me. The old me. The dying me. Trying to grab light with dying hands. But now, I could hold it. I started volunteering at a shelter downtown. Not to save anyone. Just to show up. Sometimes, just showing up is the miracle. One night, a kid named Tony came in. 16. Skinny. Angry. Covered in bruises. Said he didn't need help. Said we could all go to hell. I looked at him and saw myself at 17. So I sat next to him. Said nothing. Eventually, he said, "You look like a guy who's been to a funeral." I nodded. "I have." "Who died?" I looked at him. Felt something deep in my gut. The version of me that couldn't make it. But I left him a seat. Tony didn't get it then. But maybe one day he will. That's the thing about grief. About regret. About death. It doesn't go away. It just changes shape. Learns how to ride beside you instead of driving. Sometimes, I still walk out to that tree. Not because I'm haunted. But because I'm grateful. Grateful I saw the end before I reached it. Grateful for the second chance. Grateful to know whose funeral it really was. It wasn't mine. It was his. It was theirs. It was all the versions of us who didn't make it. All the things we buried but never honored. All the ghosts we lived with so long we forgot they weren't ours. But I remember them now. I carry them now. Not as weight. As warning. As witness. The man at the funeral was me. But not the man I am today. That man is dead. And I am finally alive. I've stopped trying to outrun it. The past. The pain. The possibility that somewhere in the folds of time, there's still a version of me who didn't get back up from that couch in Baltimore. Maybe he's still there. Still staring up at the ceiling with glassy eyes, a needle dangling from his arm, his story ending in a whisper no one heard. Maybe that funeral did happen, in some echo of reality that bled into ours. I used to be afraid of that thought. Now, I'm not. Because the man who died? He made room for the man who came back. I think about that sometimes. Who gets to come back? Who doesn't? Why some of us wake up? And why some never get the chance to? There's no math to it. No divine ledger. Just fragments of mercy. Slivers of grace hidden in horror. Sometimes I wonder if I was chosen. But that sounds too clean. Too heroic. I don't think I was chosen. I think I was warned. I think I was shown the ending so I'd stop writing toward it. It's been 9 months since I woke up. I count my sobriety from that morning. Not from the hospital, not from the halfway house. From the moment I first said, "The man at the funeral was me." Because that's the moment I knew I had to live differently. Ray and I still talk. We're not together. Not like before. But there's something deeper now. More honest. She told me she's seeing someone. A gentle man. Patient. Good with books. She laughed when she said that, knowing it would hurt just a little, and knowing I could take it. I smiled and said, "He's lucky." And I meant it. Because she deserves a future that doesn't always look backward. Eli is still going to meetings. Still alive. Still fighting. Sometimes we speak at recovery panels together. He tells the story of the overdose. The dreams. The grief. I tell the story of the tree. The grave. The locket. The man in black. We never say, "The witness," out loud. That's just for us. But afterward people come up, quiet, trembling, asking, "Did you really see your own funeral?" And I say, "I saw something worse." Then I smile. I saw what I could lose if I kept pretending I wasn't dying. The old me would have turned that into a joke. Now I let it land like a prayer. Sometimes I wonder what the witness really was. A spirit? A memory? A hallucination wrapped in warning? Maybe he was just the last honest part of me, standing at the edge, holding my hand over the casket I was too stubborn to see. A guide. A judge. A mirror. I don't see him anymore. But I feel him. Not as fear. As reminder. That I came back for a reason. That I chose not to die. And now? Now I live like someone who's been dead before. Not cautious. Not numb. But with intention. I sit in the sun. I eat slow. I tell people I love them even when they don't say it back. I say no more. I forgive things that don't deserve it, not for them, but for me. And I stay. When it's hard. When it hurts. When I want to run. I stay. Because I know what it looks like when I don't. I visited my mother's grave last week. Brought her fresh lilies and the locket. Told her everything. How Dad's trying. How I'm clean. How I remember now. How I know what she meant when she said, "Promise me you'll take care of what he left behind." I told her I did. I still dream sometimes. But not of funerals. Now it's the tree. The hill. But no casket. No mourning. Just me. Planting something. New roots. New life. There's peace there. Not because I've healed everything. But because I stopped hiding from what hurt me. And I finally believe that I'm worth more than the worst thing I've done. The man at the funeral was me. But the man who walked away from it, he's still learning how to live. And this time, he's not looking back. I don't try to move on anymore. That phrase used to sound like progress. Now it just sounds like denial dressed up in a necktie. You don't move on from the people you've lost. You don't move on from the mistakes that shaped your spine. You don't move on from the graves you stood over, or the versions of yourself you bury just to keep breathing. You carry them. The trick is learning how to carry them without breaking your back. The tree still stands. Same crooked bend at the base. Same whisper in the leaves. I visit it once a month now. Not because I have to. Because I want to. It doesn't feel like a grave anymore. It feels like a promise. Like something sacred was exchanged there, and the world's been watching ever since to see if I'd keep it. So far, I have. There's a kid at the shelter, Milo. 15. Smart. Mean. Terrified in ways he doesn't even understand yet. I caught him stealing peanut butter 2 weeks ago. Told him if he did it again, I'd make him sit through one of my stories. He did it again. So I told him the whole thing. The overdose. The funeral. The man in black. The locket. The grave. The choice. He didn't say anything when I finished. Just nodded once. Then said, "I've seen him too. The man in black." That stopped me cold. When? When my brother died. 2 years ago. I saw him standing at the edge of the street. Just watching. I thought I made it up. I didn't tell him everything right then. Didn't tell him about the witness. Didn't tell him how close I came to trading places with my casket. I just said, "You didn't make it up. You survived him." Some nights I still lie awake. Not from fear. From remembrance. From knowing how easily I could have missed this. Not just life. This life. This version where I'm not numb. Not floating. Not waiting for something inside me to rot enough that the outside would follow. This version where I'm present. For people like Milo. For people like me. I wrote a letter the other day. Addressed it to the man who didn't make it. I don't know who that is anymore. Maybe it's the version of me who died that day. Maybe it's JC. Maybe it's Eli, almost. Maybe it's the millions of us who only ever get one chance. Here's what I wrote. You didn't make it out, but I did. And I swear to you, I will not waste this. I will carry your name, your silence, your sorrow. I will speak it loud enough for both of us. I will live enough for both of us. And I will never pretend you weren't real. Because the dead don't need to haunt the living to be remembered. We can remember them without dragging them back into the fire. That's what the funeral showed me. Not just death. Grief's gravity. How it can pull us back if we let it. But I climbed out. Because I saw what it would take if I didn't. I saw the people I loved, still loving me. Even when I made it impossible. Even when I gave them every reason to look away. I saw the truth in Ray's voice. The crack in Eli's hands. The stillness in my father's apology. And I chose to stay. That's the real miracle. Not surviving the overdose. Not waking up. But choosing to stay. Day after day after day. Choosing to look at the wreckage and say, I will not climb back into this coffin. Even when it calls your name with the sweet voice of relief. Even when the darkness says, just once more. Just one last time. Even when you forget why you said no yesterday. I'm still scared sometimes. That's the truth. Recovery is not a mountaintop. It's a shoreline. The tide comes back. You just learn how to plant your feet a little deeper. A few weeks ago, Ray sent me a text. Just one sentence. She would have had your eyes. No explanation. No follow-up. Just truth. And love. And grief. All wrapped up in 9 words. I stared at it for a long time. Then I texted back. And your heart? She didn't reply. Didn't need to. We both knew what that was. Not pain. Not regret. Just memory, learning how to walk beside us. I've started journaling again. Long letters to no one. Some to God. Some to ghosts. Some to myself. One entry just said, I buried myself and dug up someone better. That's what it feels like. Not healed. Not whole. But honest. And in this world, that's wholly enough. The man at the funeral was me. But I don't fear him anymore. I greet him. I nod to him in the mirror when the mornings are hard. I let him walk beside me on the days when I miss who I used to be, when the wreckage whispers. I carry him. But I do not let him drive. There are places grief never leaves. Corners of rooms. Old voicemail inboxes. Pockets of jackets that still smell like the night everything changed. You don't clean them out. You learn how to live around them. It's been over a year now. Since the overdose. Since the funeral. Since the man in black stood at the mirror and reminded me, it wasn't your funeral. Since I started asking not just how I survived, but why. The truth? I don't think I came back to fix everything. I think I came back to feel everything. Fully. Completely. Sober. The world is quieter now. Not less painful. Just clearer. Like the fog's still there, but now I know what's on the other side of it. Like I've already walked the path to the edge once, and now I keep to the middle, not because I'm afraid, but because I finally know what's worth protecting. I still visit the tree, the grave, the stone, the roots that remember what I tried to forget. Last time I brought Milo with me. He stood under it for a long time, not saying anything. Just looking up. It's not as scary as I thought, he said. What isn't? I asked. Being remembered. That one landed deep. Because for all the things I feared, overdose, withdrawal, jail, death, being forgotten was the one that cut deepest. Now I know better. The dead don't disappear when we stop speaking their names. They disappear when we stop learning from them. I don't wear the ring Eli gave me. But I keep it in my pocket when I speak. Because now people ask me to tell the story. Not the addict makes good story. Not the recovery miracle story. The funeral story. The one that makes people shift in their seats. The one that makes them think of the things they buried alive. The one that asks, if you saw the end, would you live differently today? Sometimes after I finish, someone always lingers. Last week, a woman in her 40s approached. Shaking. I saw it too, she whispered. The hill. The rain. The casket. I didn't ask if it was her own. I just took her hand. And said, then maybe you're meant to stay. I don't know what the witness really was. I stopped trying to name him. Maybe he was death. Maybe he was time. Maybe he was just my shame, dressed in a form I could finally see. But this I know. He was never the enemy. He showed me the truth I was too doped up, too scared, too angry to face on my own. And when I did, when I finally looked at the casket and saw my own name carved into the wood, I didn't die. I woke up. There's one last thing I need to say. To you. To the man I was. To the people I hurt. To the version of me still curled in that alley, waiting for the drugs to wear off or kick in or finish what I was too afraid to do myself. I'm sorry. And I love you. Not in spite of what you did. Because of what you survived. You carried me to this moment. To this body. This breath. This chance to choose again. And now? I choose life. Not perfection. Not penance. Not some fantasy of clean slates and redemption arcs. Just life. Messy. Beautiful. Still bruised. But mine. The man at the funeral was me. But the man who writes this? He's something else now. A witness. A survivor. A student of loss and light. And as I walk away from the grave for the last time, I don't look back. I don't need to. I know what's buried there. And I know what I've become because of it. So I say the words out loud, one final time. Rest now. I'll carry the rest. Then I turn toward the sun. And walk into where the light falls.